Welcome to Dig Deep, the mining podcast. In this podcast, we go deep into mining news, hot topics, and live interviews with mining professionals and leading figures in the mining industry. Introducing your host, Rob Tyson, founder and director of Mining International and Mining International Executive, a leading global mining recruitment and headhunting agency.
Hi, mining community. Welcome back to another episode of the Dig Deep, the mining podcast. And today's guest is Rodney Illingworth, who's the managing director of NT Minerals, who are an Australian-based ASX-listed resources company focused on the discovery and development of world-class mineral projects. Currently, the company are concentrating its efforts on the Redbank Copper Project, located in the McArthur Basin in the Northern Territory of Australia. Rodney's also the managing director of Adroit Capital Group, which are a family office established to focus on specialist investment and advisory management service across the resources, energy and technology space. Rodney's on the podcast today to tell us more about NT Minerals and what they're looking to achieve. So that's welcome, Rodney, to the podcast. How you doing, Rodney?
Good, Rob. Thank you. Thanks for inviting us here and taking the time to listen to our story, or my story maybe. Mine's probably a bit boring, but...
Yeah, no worries, and I appreciate your time as well. I know it's getting late over there in Australia. So as we always start this podcast off, I just wondered if you could just tell us a little bit about your career and about your background before we go and speak about the company in more detail.
Thanks, Rob. Yeah, well, I left school and I sort of basically hitchhiked up to the north of Australia from Perth, where I was born. And funny enough, I started off on cattle stations working, and back in the days when it was all horses, living in swags for 6 weeks at a time. So that's where I started, and it was from that point we started interacting with mineral companies, because we had vast tracts of land that we were sort of managing, if you like, on a pastoral cattle station basis, and onshore oil and gas. And that's, I guess, where my interest got peaked a bit in regards to getting involved in that. And I was fortunate enough to become very close with a very good geologist, Graham Hutton, who's passed away now, and he sort of got me more involved in the exploration side of minerals and give me a little bit of knowledge on it. And so we used to construct roads for those relevant companies at the time and all that. So it sort of was just a natural thing to get involved in it, I think. And we're very comfortable in remote areas, you know. So that's sort of the long and the short of it all. And ended up being in the Northern Territory the last 20 odd years. We've sort of developed 3 resource projects to production. We sort of haven't operated too much in the public space, you know, public companies. We've just finished commissioning an iron ore mine in the Northern Territory, which is privately held. We enjoy what we do, and we're very fortunate to have a good team that just enjoy it as well. You know, you got to have fun along the way.
Yeah, certainly. Well, let's talk about, obviously, like you mentioned, you've been involved with some projects privately, but I suppose we want to speak about the ones that are public. I'm happy for you to speak about the projects that you privately own as well. I'll leave that up to you. But I suppose kicking off, I just wondered if you can just tell us a little bit more about NT Minerals. And obviously, you've just recently joined them. So, just wondering if you just tell us a little bit more about the company.
Yeah, we're obviously familiar with the land holding, because based in the Northern Territory, you know, it's a big state territory, but we're familiar with it, and we really liked there's nothing like neurology, you know, the old Redbank copper mine, and you know, it's got sort of circa nearly 90,000 tonne of copper resource at 1.1, which is always good, you know. The higher the grade, technically the lower the cost, you know. But so we like the package. We're familiar with the area. We're familiar with the stakeholders, the traditional owners, and obviously we're familiar with the government and the mines department. So we've sort of got asked to sort of participate in a capital raising. So I think we put in about $700,000-800,000 earlier last year, and some other people went on the board and sort of stabilised the company. So and they've done that, and they've done a good job of the last 12 months. We've cut down all the executive fees, and the whole board's now on performance-based, if you like. So basically, try and get all the money into the ground. Even though I have been in the public space for years, we've dealt with a number of them, and you see a lot of the fees go out, and they become lifestyle companies. So we wanted to sort of longer term show to potential investors and the current shareholders that this is about putting the money in the ground, getting the best value, and ultimately what we're all there for is increase shareholder value. So sort of I sort of got freed up a bit time-wise now, and obviously a shareholder, so I sort of went on as MD to sort of help the rest of the team and put my energies into that, and got a bit of attention because I get a dollar salary for the year, because hey, it's part of what we're trying to show investors, and that is, and so I was incentivized with options, obviously, but I've got to make that work to get, and we're a shareholder anyway, so it sort of makes sense. We're not just protecting our investment, we want to increase the investment. So that's how it sort of came to be. So I'm pretty excited where we go with it this year.
Yeah, and obviously I recently approached you to come onto the podcast, and we can speak about that. Obviously, your base remuneration is $1 per annum, obviously plus options, and obviously you're covering your own costs. So I just wondered if you can just tell us a little bit about that, how you negotiated that deal, why you put that kind of deal in place. Obviously, you mentioned you want to put more money into the ground. I wondered if you can just tell us a little bit about that structure, why you came to agree in that, and I suppose what some of the advantages are by having a very small salary.
Well, the ultimate is apart from the option package, which I can talk to in a minute, but it is really just to show the investors and shareholders we're all on the same page here. If we don't perform, then I don't get paid. As I said, I'm a shareholder anyway. There's no point taking money from myself, albeit I think we're sort of circa 10%. And it was really just bang for our buck. Instead of, I think when we first put money in, I think the previous 12 months there was $800,000 worth of executive salaries. Well, they're all gone now. So that's a fair big chunk for a microcap company, So at least, and it's really about that. As shareholders, right? We're focused, we're performance based, and so any money we raise will go into the ground. And I guess I'm in a fortunate position where I don't, have to rely on the income, and hence I just said to the board, well, I'm not going to. If I fly anywhere in Australia, I'll cover my own costs and all that as well. Not that we don't have to do too much flying, but if we do, rather than try and be a drag on the company, it's because of self-interest. We got shares and the options, So someone reached out to me, the options, after it was announced, said, "Oh, well, you did a pretty good deal on that," And I said, "Well, if you work the numbers, I think the first tranche is exercisable at 2 cents a share, so they're not in the money till then, and the price at that stage was 0.7 cents, and then the second tranche were at 4. So I said, well, if I get the share price to 4.2 cents, sure, I probably, if you work it all out, because I've got to put $6 million into the company anyway, I'll get a paper profit of 40% return, if you like, $2.4 million over that chunk. Whereas the shareholders at that time would get a 600%. So it was trying to balance those metrics. So it's not made look a big number, but it's not, and that's sort of longer term, because with our team's expertise in developing things, we want to head that way with and if there's other opportunities, and we think we can add value. Yeah. So
Well, why do you think other mining executives, and there may be some out there, but why don't some other mining executives look at structuring, not necessarily the same structure as you've got, but a similar structure, especially when they're joining, whether they're joining as a CEO, whether they're joining as a managing director? Why do you think that a lot of people are not putting a similar structure in place where they are putting more money into the ground and working, I suppose, more closely with investors, so they're working off the same page?
I don't know. I'd hate to categorise everyone that takes an executive salary out of a micro cap or small cap company and categorise them all in one basket, because that'd be wrong. And some people obviously need some income, and they're smart people, or they're just building their careers. But there is a hell of a lot of lifestyle companies out there. I've experienced it trying to do deals with people, and they sort of want to, they're a bit scared to possibly get into production, and that check keeps coming in every month, so they get a bit comfortable. I think there's a lot of them around, I think, but I want to be clear, I don't want to put everyone in that basket, but because the rewards are good if you perform, right? So you shouldn't be scared of performance. If you get an uptick in whether it's the options or the share package performance shares, people shouldn't be scared of it if you're willing to perform.
Yeah, certainly. So I wonder if you can just give us a quick update on the project as it stands now.
Yeah, well, with NT Minerals now, we're just going to concentrate this year on building out the current resource. As I said, we've got sort of circa just under 90,000 tonne of resource. We believe there's obviously, otherwise wouldn't invest, there's a lot more upside there, but previous drilling has sort of probably gone a bit too far. We want to bring the focus back into where the current resources are. We think there's a good upside in stepping it out. We've done a lot of geophysics about the pipes going down, and we're going to test those series because all accounts it looks good. And there's some strike lengths with some rock chip samples of 30%. Obviously, that's not going to extend all the way down. So we want to sort of bring it back to that around the 20-30K mark, and radius, and just concentrate on that area, because we have such a large area that you could spend millions and millions of dollars and not get anything, or we've got mining leases there close to, and so there's an opportunity there to develop that out and then grow it out from that. So that's NT Minerals as itself, and then with the current copper resource, then we're obviously doing in the middle of a transaction where we're putting some other leases in which are up near Core Lithium, because I think the strategy, the strategy is to copper, but in that transitional mineral space, other, like whether it's a lithium or some other strategic minerals, we think the opportunities there. But not just we're very conscious of not going and chasing the new shiny thing that's going to try and give us money. When we first come on board with invested in NTM, we put a convertible note in, so it's got a $2.5 million finance capacity, so we don't have to keep going back to the market and diluting the shareholders, So it's about doing it, not chasing the new shiny thing, but doing copper. We like graphite, we like all these interesting metals that have an underlying demand anyway. So it's not, I'm not talking about rare earths, but there's some strategic stuff we're looking at to expand the base. And one of the things with NT Minerals is in the Northern Territory, is you've been to Darwin, there's a wet season, so you have 5 or 6 months of drilling, and then you've got it, and fortunate like us, we've got a good team. They sort of don't have much to do, when the wet season's on, so we're going to be looking for other copper projects or resources that we can bolt on, so we can continually work through these in the different seasons. So that's part of the strategy now. We're out looking, we're talking to people about, and we have a sort of own criteria. We want to not just go and peg anything just that has a sniff of copper. We want to say we like brownfield projects, the old copper mines that maybe that's our expertise, developing old mines or brownfield mines and getting them back into production. So we'll be wanting to go down that path a bit and explore it without overextending ourselves, but just do it, in a controlled fashion. Because the opportunity's there, There's a lot of micro caps or small cap companies now that are, the equity market's tightened right up, and they're either not looking at their copper resource, they're looking for rare earths or something, or things like that. So we're talking to a number of companies like that to see whether we can go into copper, because fundamentally we're a copper business and we've got a good resource to build on, and we think the future's obviously bright for copper. That's just a no-brainer. It might not have the peaks and troughs like a lithium or a rare earth, but
yeah, certainly copper's needed and it is in short supply. So I wonder if you just tell us a little bit about your management team.
We've got Mel James as the executive chairman. He's corporately, he's been around the traps a lot, and he's very good, very precise. And then we've got Roy Jansen, whom I've known for 10 years. He's a business partner of mine in the Northern Territory. We've developed mines. He's built plants and done a lot of remote work and road construction and all that. So. And Hugh's the independent director. He previously MD, so he's good. He was a good steady hand when he first went on to NT Minerals, and so that's at the corporate level. We've got a couple of good geologists that have been with the company for a while, and also we've got what we tap into without charging the company. We've got our own team that stand behind me that we use to assist and probably do I guess my team do a fair bit of our own. I do a fair bit of DD on the project before we bring it to NT Minerals to have a look at, the team that are focused on the copper. So which is not onerous, but that's what we do. And then, so if we fortunate enough to get to a stage where development, we've got a team that build plants, and we've got we use a lot of good external, metallurgist companies that we've used for years and all that. So that all comes with us, So pretty proud of our team. Small but focused, So.
And I was going to say, obviously, you've built some mines in the past and done it obviously privately owned. How do you find working with an ASX-listed company compared to working privately?
The work side on the ground's easy enough. It's more managing it's the reporting, and you can't say this and you can't say that and all that. So and I guess that's where Mel and Hugh and Melanie, the company secretary, come in to, you can't. It's not above my pay grade, so they do a really good job on that. Is it frustrating? Not really, because we're not in a rush. We're making haste slowly, but it's an interesting space to be in. And even talking to you, you're sort of in the back. I better not say the wrong thing. And I'm always cup's always half full sort of guy, but so I've just got to curb the enthusiasm somewhat, I think, Rob. We wouldn't be in it if we didn't believe in it. That's what we're about. That's why I'm rolling up my sleeves and getting into it. Because it's one thing you can't buy is time. So I think time spent on it's well worth it. So that gives you an indication. We're all getting older.
Yeah, certainly.
We're willing to punt on it.
You mentioned obviously microcaps. I'm wondering, just give us a quick current state of play of the microcap resource stocks within, I suppose, within the Australian market, and probably more so within the areas that you're working in WA and Northern Territory.
Yeah, well, my feeling is, and whether we could do it, I think there's a, because of this shrinkage of the equity cash coming in, unless it's, up till December was lithium, you'd throw money at everything, and even now. But I think there's an opportunity to do some consolidation in that space. There's a lot of companies out there, and maybe consolidating, shifting assets from one to another, so they're more focused, not 5 different projects on 5 different commodities. I think there's an opportunity on that, and we're definitely exploring that with NT Minerals. We're obviously first focusing on it, building the resource base, and getting more value into the business, and I think that there's a good opportunity for that. Yeah. And that's where we definitely look at it, apart from building it on the ground.
And I wonder if you just give us an update on the mining market in Australia at the moment, and how you see this year, 2024, how you see the mining industry changing within Australia over the course of the year.
I think just what we've experienced, I think the labour market's loosened up a little bit, which is a good thing. Machinery's loosened up a little bit, that's what we're finding. So, and all those things add to, being able to do your projects, the drilling's loose, drilling rig availability is loosened up. So that's a good thing. And, so I don't think it'll, boom busts or some really good in some ways, but, so that side of it's good. I think there's been there's a lot more will with government now to facilitate projects, I think, because of the transition, from, if you like, fossil fuels to, renewables and all that, and the disruption to, the whole supply chain during COVID, and what's happening in China, and, the AUKUS agreement, and the Quad, if you like. So I think it's going to be a good few years. I think, once you get politicians with a bit of will, because they're just chasing the people, right? What people want, and so I think that's going to help tremendously. I'm hoping more than will, but more downstream processing in the mining industry, which will make it more sustainable. Australia's just a quarry essentially, or has been a quarry to a point, and that will is there with governments, and so I hope that bodes well for us. Value add. So that's where we'd like to see it go, and that's where we're definitely going to try and head.
Yeah, certainly. So. And lastly, in concluding, what's the outlook for NT Minerals over the sort of next 6 to 12 months for the remainder of this year?
I think it'll be a good ride. It'll be an interesting ride. I don't get everything right, all the time, but one thing I have learned in my career is keep moving forward and having a go. You know what I mean? It's sort of, I've dealt with a few public companies, they're too scared to make a decision. Well, and so they become stagnant, or, just, but yeah, as long as you get it right 51% of the time or more, and have faith in your team. Yeah. So we'll put it this way, you won't be short of decision-making process and having a crack out there, whether it's drilling, on our current leases, or having a look at another resource. We'll be into it pretty well. We'll be going hard. Yeah, because you just, as I said, you can't buy time, and shareholders shouldn't expect them just to sit and wait and, we raise more money, and you're not going to get it right every time, but one thing we won't be accused of is not having a go and moving forward. So,
yeah. And when are you going out to start drilling or continue drilling?
Oh, well, the wet season restricts us, so we're just identifying some drill targets, and back earlier what I said around the current resources. We've gone through the whole data room, if you like, historical data room. So I'd expect, after the wet season, which is after April this year, we'll be starting to, there's obviously we've got to revise the mine management plans for the next 2 years. So they're all getting worked on now with drill targets and everything like that. So practically it'll be April, May, you'd be seeing some action with drilling, and then subsequently the results would be there on after. So, yeah.
Yeah, great. Okay, Rodney, really appreciate your time. Thank you for giving us an update on NT Minerals, and obviously wish you well for 2024. If our audience wants to reach out to you, if they want to follow your story, how can they go about doing that? Also, what social media platforms are you in the company on?
I'm on LinkedIn, Rob. I'm not really okay with that because I sort of haven't had to sort of go out with that, but I guess that's the start one is my LinkedIn. I haven't sort of gone near that, but yeah, I'll get back to you with something anyway, so we can do a subsequent. I'll try and get some advice on that, but just LinkedIn and just follow NT Minerals on the ASX, I guess.
And obviously you've got your website as well. You've got your website as well. So I'll put all those in the show notes accompanying this anyway. So obviously people can follow you and follow your story. So
and we're happy to talk in another 6 months, see where we are. It'll be a bit of fun. Yeah,
certainly. Well, welcome to come on later on the podcast later this year, and hopefully obviously have some good drill results once you get back out in the field.
Yeah, well, one thing I can assure you, we won't be a lifestyle company. I can tell you that, Rob.
No, and that's certainly good to hear. And like you said, all the money that you get is going into the ground, and that's what investors want to hear. And obviously then obviously get positive drill results, and obviously try and improve on those as time goes on.
Absolutely. Yeah, you got to back it up, right, with results. So, but yeah, we got some good guys, smart guys. So. And, we're starting off with a resource there already. So there's sort of, and neurology, there's an old copper mine next to it, So, yeah, it's a good area, and obviously Teck Minerals like that area. They've taken some of our leases on the western side. Yeah, so, yeah, it's a good area to be in, It's just probably a bit underexplored and underdeveloped because of its remoteness, but that's something that we're used to,
Yeah, good to hear. Well, all the best for 2024.
Likewise.
Hopefully you can come onto the podcast later this year with and give us an update on the company.
Be absolutely my pleasure. And if you're in Oz, come and look us up and we'll take you.
I certainly will. I'll certainly be over sometime this year. Definitely. As I used to live there.
Yeah, try and get up the territory to go barra fishing or something, So.
Yeah. Well, if you invite me, I'm sure I'll be able to get there. No worries. Yeah. All right, Rodney. All the best.
Safe and prosperous New Year.
Yeah, thank you. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Please share this with everyone that you know in the industry, especially anyone that's obviously, we've got a lot of listeners in Australia. Please share this episode with all your friends and family that are interested in mining. And even if they're not interested in mining, please share these episodes because it is an educational platform, and a lot can be learned from listening to a number of these different episodes that we do. So really appreciate your continued support. And until next time, happy mining.
Thank you for listening. Remember to reach out to Rob via the show notes and be sure to subscribe and leave a review. Until next time, happy mining, helping each other to improve the mining industry.